Let us learn how to make a survey using Microsoft Forms. Go on the browser, go to the forms.office.com. You would be directed to a page which says New Form or New Quiz. Since we are making a survey, we would select the option New Form. Apart from that, MS Forms also provides you certain inbuilt templates. You can refer to certain templates like the customer feedback survey, course evaluation survey, feedback survey, and so on. But in case you prefer to have your own custom-based survey, it's preferable that you start from the scratch. So let's select the new form option. Every survey needs to have a title. So select the untitled form. Here you need to write the name of your survey, like the survey on toothpaste. It's just an example for you people to understand. You can write the title as per your requirements. Next is the enter a description. It is always advisable that you write a brief detail about your survey so that the respondent is aware about what the survey comprises of. You can also include the instructions. Along with the title of the survey, if you wish to add an image, you can do that as well. Just click on insert image and you would be directed to options like OneDrive, or you can upload from your own system. So depending on your needs, you can select the option. Okay. Now let's add the questions. While adding these questions, you would be directed to certain choices, like you want to have a multiple choice question, you want a text-based open-ended question, a rating question, or you want to add a date. Along with this, there are certain more question types like ranking, Likert, and so on. So let's first select the multiple choice question. In the case of a multiple choice question, just add your question. Which variant of toothpaste do you prefer? Since it's a multiple choice question, you may write your options here, like regular, fruity flavor. In case you want to add more options apart from the two-way question, you can go for that as well. And as per requirement, you can keep adding the options. If you want that the respondent should answer each and every question, you can toggle the button to the required, and now it becomes mandatory that each respondent has to fill this particular question in order to submit the form. On the bottom right corner here, you can see 3 dots, which gives you certain more options. Like you can shuffle the options, like you're giving the survey to people and the options get shuffled for each respondent. You can have a drop down, or you can add subtitle. Now what exactly is a subtitle? Like if you want the respondent to understand what the question means, you can write a brief detail, or you can give a subtitle to the question. Like for variant, you're asking from the point of view of the brand, or maybe flavor, or any other criteria that you have on your mind, that could be included here. Once you're done with the first question, let's go to the second one. Add new. Here I have the option of textual question. In case of a textual question, you do not have options. Type your question like, what is your age? Here the subtitle can be added if you want to, or you can simply remove that subtitle. Here enter your age. Since it's a small answer, he just has to write a number. You can leave it as a simple short answer, or else if you're expecting a long answer to be filled for the question that you have written, just toggle the button on the long answer and the space gets increased. The third option of the question is a rating scale. Here you can increase the rating scale by 5 or 2 or 3, whichever is your preferred rating that you want. So like here I take 9. And if you want star, you can take a star. If you want numbers, it can be converted into numbers. So like on a rating scale of 9, rate your current toothpaste, where you can always mention that 1 shows least preferred and 9 shows the most preferred. That can be added in the, you can label that. The one number shows least preferred and label 9 says most preferred. Now the respondent can very easily decide which number to select as per his preferences. Add new. Let's check out the date kind of question. In case of a date question, you are provided with a calendar like what is your date of birth. These type of questions are more suitable where you want a specific date to be filled by the respondent. So you can select the date type of question and move ahead. Every time you add a question, you can add the media. In case of a title, you can only add an image, whereas in case of questions, you can add the media. Now let me select insert media, whether I want an image to be inserted or whether I want a video to be inserted. So let's begin with the image. So as I mentioned earlier, in case of image, you would be directed either to the OneDrive, or you can go using the image search of Bing, or the third option is upload. Okay, let's add a question which requires a media, and I want my respondents to watch that video and give a rating to that. So I'll be going to the button add new and I'll select rating. I want my 5-star rating for the video, so I'll be writing watch the video and rate the same. Now since it's an online survey that we are talking about, so it's easy for you to add the media and send it across to your respondents. Now let's go to the insert media. Click insert media. There you have two options, one is image, another one is video. Select video, and all that you need to do is just simply paste your URL and click add. The minute you add, press the add button, the video gets embedded to your questionnaire, and here it is. The respondent simply has to press the play button and the video starts playing, and that is my rating scale. Now while I do that, I can change my stars to as many stars that I want, a 5-star or a 10-star, but I can also change it to numbers, right? So numbers, and then if I want to add a label to those numbers, least liked and most liked. And if you don't want this to be a required question, you can remove that required, but I want them to watch this video and then give a rating, so I'll be keeping it as required. Okay. Once you have done and you believe that your survey is complete, you can go to the preview. Watch that your survey is as per your need. What you can see on the screen is the survey on toothpaste on the computer screen. This is how it would be visible to the respondent. Now every time the question has a star, it means it is required question, and as long as the respondent does not fill those questions, he would not be able to submit the questionnaire. Now let's look at the mobile view. Now in case your respondent is using a mobile for filling the survey, this is how it would appear to the respondent. The survey on toothpaste, the questions, I have added a couple of different variants of questions, the rating scale, the stars, and of course the video part. And this is how it looks like. Once I'm satisfied that the preview is good enough and is what I want for my survey, now if I'm also, another thing is I can change the theme of my survey. I can go to theme, select, maybe I want blue as my theme, or maybe a picture of the octopus or home office. So I can change the theme of the survey, and I can select that. Now in these settings, I have to select accept responses. The minute I untick this, the recipients will not be able, the respondents will not be able to submit the form, right? Now, what generally happens is that you send the survey and you tick accept responses, and you have a set number of days on your mind that till this day I want them to fill the responses. So what you can do is you can select the start date, and here you can fill that from 16th of August, starting from 8 p.m. the survey can be filled by the respondents, and I mention a date that by maybe 22nd, 8:15 p.m. they should complete the survey. Other thing that is visible is I can shuffle the questions that I want that each respondent should get the questions in a shuffled manner. Like same questionnaire should not be visible to each respondent, so I can shuffle that. That's totally up to the investigator how he wants to go about it. Then you have the email notification of your response. Every time the respondent fills the survey, you get notified by mail that a respondent has filled the survey. So that's one option. Another one is customized thank you message. When you, ideally once the respondent fills the survey, he gets this message, your response has been submitted. But in case you want to add your own, so you can do it. Now the next type of question which is very important for you all to understand is that now the question that I'm going to pick up is where you have to upload a file, or you want the respondents to upload the file for that question. So add new, select, and go to the option of file upload. Select that. Now while you do that, you write your question like you want a particular document to be uploaded. So upload your file here. Now once that's done, now you want to know, you want here it is where you're going to decide the number of files. So you can select 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and the maximum of 10 files can be uploaded, but I'll prefer to go for 1 file. So 1. Now what would be the size of the file that can be uploaded can be decided by the investigator himself here. So if it's the 10 MB, 100 MB or 1 GB, now as you increase the size of the file, obviously it would be a very heavy file and it would fill the space on your drive. So I'll be selecting 10 MBs, and again I make it required, and let's see if we have more settings. Okay, so here we go to file type. Now when we say select the option of file type, there are certain options that open up, whether you want them to upload a Word file, Excel, PPT, PDF, image, video and audio. The requirement, depending on what kind of file do you want them to upload, right? You can select accordingly. Like in my case, I want them to upload a PDF or an image, right? So I have selected PDF and image. Now they can only upload a PDF file or they can upload an image file, right? Okay, I also want to add a subtitle because I want the respondent to know that they are only allowed upload file format that can be uploaded, that is PDF or IMG, right? Now, having said that, my question is ready. Okay, now once my questionnaire is ready, I would like to have a preview of that questionnaire. Now for you people, I have actually created a sample questionnaire. Let me take you to that. Okay, here I have my sample survey ready where I've tried to add all types of questions. And not only that, I've also added sections to my questionnaire, like I want my respondent or my questionnaire respondent to fill the portions or the questions in sections. So like as far as the particulars or the personal details are concerned, I had put that into section 1, as you can see here, section 1, which comprises of name of respondent, gender, age, and then I have another section which would be having another set of questions. Now let's go and watch the preview. So that's the preview when you look at it. Okay. So this is the preview, or this is the kind of form that the respondent will be able to see once he gets the link, right? So I made a sample survey already on toothpaste. And this is the mobile view. And just in case the person who's filling the survey is using a mobile phone, this is how your questionnaire would look like. And since all the questions are marked with a star, that means it's a mandatory thing, it's a required question, and as long as the respondent does not mark all the questions, but at least the required questions, they'll not be able to submit the form, right? Okay, once I'm satisfied with the preview, now I'll go to my settings. On the right side corner, you can see 3 horizontal dots. Select that. Now here one thing that you would observe is that since mine is a paid version of Office 365, so it's similar to the Forms Pro. So I'll be having more features like settings, multilingual feedback and terms. So here what I've done is I have added, you can add like by default the primary language is English. You can add additional language, like you want that the questionnaire should be converted into some other language as well. You can do that. So Hindi is one, I'm adding additional one. So let me take another Indian language. I'll go to Marathi, but then that looks like more or less, okay, I'll go for Bangla. Nahin. Okay, I'll go for Bangla. Now every time a questionnaire gets sent to the respondent, whichever language that he prefers, it would be showing it accordingly. Now, so that's it. Okay, in these settings, one thing that I want to tell you, the difference between a form, a free version of form, and a Forms Pro is that where you are actually getting the Office 365 MS Form feature. Here you'll observe that in these settings, you have features like anyone with the link can respond. Now when I say anyone with the link can respond, it simply means that you just copy paste or you send it via mail, and anybody who has this link can fill the survey. Whereas if I want to put a restriction that only people in my particular organization should fill that survey, like let us assume that I wanted to know the most popular employee of the organization, and I only want the voting to be, or the survey to be done amongst the people of my organization. So I'll select this option and I can record the name, and I can also select one response per person, so that it's like one person, one vote kind of a thing. And that way the number of votes that can be collected, that could be done. Now it's like similar to converting the poll feature into this form. So one response per person. Now the next one is options for responses. Now accept responses, as long as I have this box tick in this box, the form would continue to accept responses. But the minute I deselect this, it says the recipients aren't able to fill out and submit this form, right? Now, like you have decided a particular day where you want that the employees of the organization should cast their votes. In that case, I can do that manually also, that I go and deselect accept responses. Now they are not able to do that. Another option is I select accept responses. I click on start date. Now on this particular date, the survey would start. Like I want the poll to happen on the weekend, maybe on Friday 21st at 11, or go to 11 a.m. that the form should start accepting responses, and then I can also select end date, and again on the 21st of that my voting is only for maybe 1 hour, and I ask my employees to just fill up that, and this could be done. Then another option is shuffle questions. If you want that each respondent should get a different sequence of the questions, you can simply shuffle the questions, and that could be done. So shuffle the questions, and it is sorted. And then there's the customized thank you message, where once the respondent submits the survey or the form, this would flash on his screen that your response was successfully submitted. And if you want that this should be changed, you can put a customized message of your own. If you want that the respondent should receive the mail of his submission, in that case you select send email receipt to the respondent. And if you want you should get a notification that a response has been submitted, so you select get email notification of each response. Now in my case I don't want either of them to happen, so I deselect that, and that's it. Okay, having done everything with the settings and all, now I go to share. Now there are 4 options of sharing the form. One is link, where I simply copy this link. Second is QR code, where a QR code gets generated. I'll simply download it and I can scan it with my phone, tablet, whatever is available. Third is embed. I can embed this onto any of the web page or Sway or any application that I want. And last is the email option that I have. I'll simply go to the email and send it via mail. Okay, then in the lower end you can see share as a template. Now this feature of share as a template is a method in which a duplicate can be created of this survey or this form, but no responses would be received by, when the duplicate of the form is taking place, the one who's creating the duplicate would not be getting the responses for this particular form. Then he can edit and do whatever corrections he wants to do. That is one part. And then the third option, again as I said, this is not available. Okay, so now we have learned how to make a form on Google, right? The procedure is more or less the same. It's just a few difference in the features that's there between Google and MS Forms. So again, as we did in case of Microsoft Forms, here too we'll be doing the same thing. We'll go to start a new form. Again, what you can observe here is that there are already a couple of inbuilt templates. Okay. So just in case you feel that this templates is more than sufficient for your purpose, and you just want already inbuilt features or inbuilt forms, you can use that. Otherwise you can have a customized form. So go to that plus sign on the left side which says blank and click on that plus. Okay. Here again you get the untitled form. So the first thing that you need to do is give a title to your form. Survey on internet services, right? And here again I can add a description if you want to, that what is the survey all about, and go ahead. So the first is the untitled question again. Now here you have the options whether you want to go for a multiple choice questions or another set of options that are available for the different types of questions that can be used. Like if you want a textual question with a short answer, you can go for this. If you want a paragraph, you can go for this. If you want a multiple choice question or a check boxes. Now the difference between a multiple choice question and check boxes is that in case of a multiple choice question, you will only be allowed to select one option. Whereas in case of a checkbox, let us do that. In case of a checkbox, you can select more than one option. Like many a times you ask a question where you want the respondent to select more than two options. For example, the question says, what all devices do you use to access the internet? Right? So in that case, the option one would be like mobile. Other one might be desktop. And we want to add another option of laptop, and maybe other. Okay, so that other option is there. If you want to make it a required question, you just toggle the switch and make it required. Now that means it is mandatory for the respondent to answer that question. Okay. Likewise, as we did earlier, you can add the description, and you can also do the response validation. Response validation is simply like you can put a condition just to check that the person has selected he's done the right selections, or he's not putting the improper answers. That is what response validation is. And again, you can shuffle the option of the order. Right? This is if you want the similar kind of question to be duplicated, that is fine. And then in order to add the next question, you go to the plus sign here. A small plus is there in a circle. You click that. The minute you take your cursor there, it adds another question. So that's another question for you. And this time I am planning to take a short answer, right? Maybe I want to know what is the name of your service provider, right? In that case, I want him or her to write the answer here, and since it would be a short text that he'll be writing, so I'll provide the space accordingly. Next we go to another add question, and this time I want to take a file upload, right? So let's see how does the file upload work. Now it says let respondents upload files to drive. The minute you see this question, this question says that here the respondent, whoever is filling the survey, has to upload a file. Now that file format is something that needs to be decided by the investigator who's creating the survey. So I click on, now like it says, files will be uploaded to the form owner's Google Drive. Respondents will be required to sign into Google when file upload questions are added to a form. Make sure to only share this form with people you trust, right? So now these type of questions are something that is to be used very carefully, right? So here we click continue. Design, upload your document, or maybe now allow only specific file types. Now if you do not select that, they can upload any type of file that they have, but this way you can actually restrict them by making it specific that you only want a PDF, or you want an image, or you want a doc file, right? So I have given a document file as well, so just in case they embed the picture on the doc file and send it like that. Okay, then is the maximum number of files that can be uploaded. It's either 1, 5 and 10, whereas in case of MS forms we observe that the number of files is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is either 1 or 5 or 10. So since I need only 1, I'll be selecting 1, and the maximum file size. Now here's this catch. Here in case of MS forms we just had 3 options: 100 MB, 10 MB and 1 GB. Google gives you the option of 1 MB, 10 MB, 100, 1 GB and 10 GB. Okay, so if 10 GB, 1 GB is the file size, which it's a huge file that we're talking about. So let's restrict, I want a small file and I'll be going for a 1 MB file. And I again make it required. Let's see if there's, okay, if I want to add description, so I can write upload the latest bill. So that's a description that I've given, that what is the respondent supposed to do. Okay, and I go to, okay, add questions. Now there are certain other things that can be done, like you can import questions from some other file that's already there. There's already a Google form that you've made and you want a question to be imported from there. You can comfortably do it from there. You can add title, description, and then is add image and add video. So let's add a image. We have done that, and I'll be going to the, so all that you need to do is just browse and you can upload the file, or you go to camera, the camera gets turned on. You can have a URL, or if you have a photo you can do that, or a Google image search, you can search it on the net and then do it. So this is how the image gets uploaded. Similarly, same case applies with case of the video. You just need to paste your URL here, and once you paste that URL, your file gets uploaded. Okay. Now here is the add section. Now the minute I click add section, a new section gets added. Like by default, the first section where I had asked these questions, it becomes the section number 1, and this is section number 2. Right, now you can give, like many times it happens that you have different set of questions or different parts to your survey, and the minute the one part, like maybe the section 1 is about the personal details or particulars of the respondent, and then you want to take them to the second section where you're specifically asking about the survey topic. So you can do that. Now this button actually is a way of hiding the options and all that you just don't want them to come. Now this is how it would look, and no other options would be visible. So just making it in a compressed manner. Right? Okay. Now if you want to have a duplicate section, you want to move this section, or you simply want to delete the whole section, so instead of doing it individually, deleting one question at a time, you can delete the whole section simultaneously. Okay. So once that's done, let's look at the preview. This is how that your questionnaire would look like. And then you go to next. Okay. Now since since it's a required question, I have to fill up the options, and the minute I select other, now I have to write. So I write form top, and now I have to add a file, because other than that it would not allow me to go to the next section. Like if I click that, it will all of a sudden say, since it's a required question, you have to upload a file. Okay, so I'm not going to the next section. I hope you got to know how it is done, and that's that. Okay. And back to and this is the responses section. The minute you share the file, the form, the responses start coming up, and you can see that the number of responses keeps increasing, and and the minute you toggle it to off, now no further responses would be accepted. This is how it is, not accepting responses. So that means you close the form. Right? Now let's look at the settings. Now okay, now let us look at what are these three vertical dots all about. Now, these are certain settings, these are certain other features that is given to us by the Google form. Like you can make a copy of it, you can delete the whole form, you get a pre-filled link, you can print the form, you can add collaborators, like you want your friend or a colleague to work on the same survey. So here you just provide them with that. Script editor, add-ons. Now add-ons is one feature where you are provided with certain other apps which can be embedded or linked to your current form. So there are multiple such features that are there and can be very comfortably incorporated. When you go to settings, now if you want to collect the email addresses, just click on that. Response receipts, if respondent requests it, or if you want, the minute the respondent sends the submits the response. So there are two options. One, either you give it always or only if the respondent asks for it, then you can do that, or you can deselect it. That limit to one response, that means from one particular ID only one response can be submitted. And then respondents can edit after submit or can see summary charts. That's totally up to the requirement of the investigator, whether he wants the respondent to be able to edit his responses. But it's always preferable that once the response has been submitted, let it stay the way it is unless you believe the chances of errors are high. In that case, that could be done. And then is the presentation, like you want to see the the progress bar, you want to shuffle the question order. Now there are two things. One is shuffling the questions, another one is shuffling the options. If you want to shuffle the options, that has to be done on the question itself. But if you want to shuffle the questions order, then that can be done from here. And then one beautiful feature about Google Forms is that you can comfortably convert a simple form into a quiz by just turning on the toggle switch and make this a quiz, and then you're ready to go. The form gets converted into a quiz. But in case of MS form, you have to create a separate quiz. You cannot convert a form into a quiz just by this toggle switch. Cancel. And there is, let us send it to the respondents either via email or by copying the link or by embedding it. So whichever way you want to do it, you can do that. And then if you want to collect the email addresses of it, of course that can be comfortably done. Oh, sorry, that's not available. And this is what we have for the Google Forms.